I recommend Paul to whoever wants to increase their production and patience. Thank you.
I look forward to continually working with him on cosmetic cases.
I can wholeheartedly recommend
and I would
Paul
definitely
Special,
recommend him to anyone.
a marketing manager and
I would
consultant for
highly
dentists.
recommend Paul for any dentist who wants to increase.
If you're looking for new patients, if you're looking to take your practice to the next level, I think definitely sitting down with Anello Solutions and Paul and seeing what he can do for you. And I would gladly recommend him highly to any.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Late Night Dental Marketing Talk with your host Paul Speziale, or Paul on Dental Town. I say good evening when it actually is more of the afternoon. It's actually about 5:50 p.m. I'm a little bit more dressed up than usual because I just gotten back from court. I had 2 tickets that I went in prepared and defended, and they withdrew both charges right off the bat. So I'm very excited about that. It was $250 would have been a fine, and so it's cause to celebration. And there's another reason to celebrate, and that is how to increase your profits. Because at the end of the day, whether you get more production, you hire more staff, you expand your business, or whatever, the only money that you see that you can bring home to your family, that you can use to buy a new car, buy a new house, or give your kids a good college opportunity, is profit. What you have left in your pocket at the end of the day. So, to celebrate, I am a connoisseur of imported beer, and this one I will be partaking in its consumption. This one is called Chimay. It's brewed in Belgium. Comes in like a wine bottle. It's a little bit more potent than normal beer, 7%, and it tastes a little bit more weedy, but it's very good, and I highly recommend it. So join me for a beer. It's summertime, and it produces lots of head. This is probably not the best glass for it. It's a Stella glass, but it's very delicious. So let's talk about boosting your profits. Now, the goal of every business is to make a profit. That's the only reason to stay in business. If you're losing money, then there's no reason to stay in business. However, if you're looking for the long term or even the short term, the goal of the business should be to acquire a new customer that makes you profits. So let's expand that focus a little bit. Instead of just making a profit, acquiring a customer, or in your case a patient, in order to make a profit. So you want to work on and looking at the long-term relationship with the patient. Then you build up a relationship, their family comes in, everyone's happy, and of course that increases your bottom line. So before we talk, I look at it this way: you can't help anyone if you're broke. Some dentists say to me, I don't want to do marketing, I don't want to do advertising, I don't want to deal with that. People should come to me. I shouldn't have to do this and that strategy and all this kind of thing. But you're right. In an ideal world, people would understand that they have to go to the dentist every 6 months, every 4 months, and they would take your treatment plan as you suggest it, and never have a problem with collections, and they would be ideal. However, in the ideal world, that happens. This is not the ideal world, so we have to do these things. You can't help anyone if you're broke. If the business is failing, if patients are losing, you're losing money, you can't provide health care to people if that's happening. And also leveraging yourself so that you could help more and more people. That means more profit at the end of the day. So the first thing that we need to look at before we talk about all the different strategies is, what's the lifetime value of your patient? Do you know your lifetime value? What is each patient worth to your practice on average? So in order to calculate that, usually you take the entire history of the patient, of every patient, and then you total up the amount of payments they've made to your office, and then you divide it by the amount of time that they've been there. And that'll give you the average lifetime of the patient. Now, if that's too complicated for your software to do, or for you to do, for your staff to do, an easier calculation and a conservative calculation would be, what is the value of the average person for your practice for just this year alone, or for the last complete year? So you take the total amount of production that you made for the last year, and you divide it by the number of people that you saw that year. And that'll give you the average production per patient for that year. And that gives you an idea of sort of it's a conservative estimate. You know, ideally you want to look at your lifetime, but just quickly, just a quick rough draft, how much is it worth? You know, if you're in a more affluent area, that number could be in the thousands of dollars. If you're just bread and butter and you're just getting people in for emergencies, or you know, you're just basically getting people in and out and in and out, and you're not doing all the big cases, then you're looking at, you know, a few hundred to 1,000. Even I think Harvard put out a study, and it was about $1,400 for a lifetime value. So your conservative estimate will be less than that, and you can look at that. Once you have that number, you can use that to your advantage, because that allows you to focus in on long-term profits, which will be much, much greater than just short-term profits. So you can be reassured that if any marketing you do, say a loss leader, then you're going to recover that money pretty soon. Okay? Everyone wants to know when they'll recover their money for any investment. So if you're putting out thousands of dollars for marketing, then you need to know when it's coming in, and it'll come in very soon. But if you have the lifetime value numbers on you, then you can easily do more marketing, because you know how much money you're going to be making. Okay? So the first strategy, and the easiest strategy, is to take control of your collections. What's your accounts receivable like? If you have a low accounts receivable, then this doesn't apply to you. But if the staff at the front of the office, they're the ones that should be collecting the money as the patient's leaving. That is the number one time. When the patient goes home, life happens, and therefore they start to lose track of what they owe you. And if they have any pain at any point, then they use that as leverage against you to prevent paying. Okay?